Welcome to Grace on Fire, Spontaneous Talks. Thank you. Thank you so much. My spontaneous talk today is going to be expanding upon what Diane Christensen was talking about in her highlight just a few minutes ago. We just highlighted Diane Christensen, and she had such a wealth of amazing information and spiritual concepts. I'm going to zone in on just one right now because it is very dear to me at this point in my life. And she was talking about how so many experiences in her life have drawn her in to find out that the answers are within her. The source is within her. The power is within her. And that presence is within her. And we go about, and this is where I'm at in my life. I'm in the process of really figuring out that after all these years, I started my spiritual path when I was 5, probably, just like her, 5 years old. I knew at 5 years old I'd have conversations with my grandmother, Nanny, and I would tell Nanny was an atheist, and I would tell her, Nanny, you are spirit. You're not your body, you're spirit. Even if all your body was gone, if your arms gone, your legs, you'd still be you. And I would talk to her for hours about this at 5 years old. She reminded me as I was older, and I would go on. And I've always known that I was not my body. I was spirit. I was an infinite presence, awareness being. And that just was very clear for me from the beginning of I can remember. However, I had that, and as I was young, I had profound spiritual experiences. I spent most of my childhood in the woods. I lived out in the country, and I was a nature child. So every free moment I could get, I was out in the woods. I was just wandering and exploring, and the ferns and the trees and the pollywogs. I just was enamored by nature, and that's where I spent all my time. Everyone knew where I was if they couldn't find me. I was out in the fields, out by the streams, out in nature. And in the process of that, I was blessed to have some extreme spiritual heightened experiences. And at the time, I didn't really know what they were, but I would call them, I'm in heaven. I'm in the land of milk and honey. I am one with all life. I would come home and I would tell my mom at 6, 7, 8 that I was talking to God, and she'd go, what do you mean? And I would say, well, there were no words, but I was one with the trees. I was one with the sunlight. I was one with the ripples on the water. I became all of that, and that was what God was. And there was no verbal words, but there was a knowing, a communication inside of my being, a heightened sense of experience where I just knew I was all life, and I was one with all life. And I had them many, countless times. And then I went through a process in my life where I started to lose those. And I didn't have them so often in my teens and high school years. And I actually started to go back. This is funny. I was a child. I was young. I was a teenager. I craved those experiences again because they were so profound. And everything was just perfect. And everything was expanded into the infinite universe. And they were just such blissful experiences that for me, I started to go back to the same spots. I'd sit on the bridge where I had that magnificent experience of euphoria and ecstasy. I would go back to the field. I'd go back to the spot right by the river, thinking if I went back to the same spot, maybe I could have that experience again. And of course, we know that it was not because I was sitting on that particular bridge, or because I was in that particular field, or beside that river, or sitting up in that particular tree, or sitting in that swing. I remember being on a swing and looking out of the trees and the sun and the wind and just becoming one with everything. I disappeared. And so what happened for me is I realized that no, I'm not in those spots. That's not where that experience came. That experience came from within me. And it took me many years of me searching outside, taking classes, reading books, and I don't regret any of that. reading ravenously. I found Course in Miracles in the late 70s and was just talking to some friends here how I just could not put that book down. I read it and I read it and I memorized the lessons, went through the lessons several times, and then I started expanding into different books and different classes and different events and different sources of information that were spiritual, and getting really into meditation. I got into yoga in the early 80s, loved that, Kripalu yoga, became a yoga instructor, yoga teacher. And eventually, and really powerfully, just in the last couple years, I had a profound experience a couple years ago where I really realized I am my source. I'm my source of love. I am my source of joy. I'm my source of ecstasy. I'm my source of security. I'm my source of happiness. And it's not out there. And so my journey since that time has been going in. And I'm continuing that journey. It's a long journey. It's probably the rest of my life journey. Does not mean that I won't also be going out, but I feel the deeper I can go in, and I connect with the deepest aspect of my being, the deepest ground, which is infinite. Infinite. I have not found an end to this infinite depth within me. So that will never end. But the deeper I can go in, and the more passionate I can go in, and the more committed I can be in really communing with and spending some time with and experiencing sensing that infinite inner aliveness that is me, that is you, that is all of us, the more I can go out, the further I can go out, the more I can contribute, the further out into humanity I can be serving and touching the world. So it's going in and it's serving me in the deepest way, and that is how I can serve humanity in the deepest way. And I've always prayed all my life since I was very young, probably 5 or 6, that I want to be in my highest service to humanity. And of course that changes and evolves and progresses moment to moment to moment. And right now in this moment, this is my highest service to humanity. Next moment, it could be something different. And that's the same for you, the same for all beings. We connect into the deepest aspect of our heart, the deepest aspect of our being, and we do what our heart guides us in that moment to do. And that's all we know is that moment. Sensing in to the depths of our being, the deepest inner truth, committed to the truth within us, committed to our hearts and the deepest truth within our heart, and then acting in divine action. And it's not a physical action. That divine action may just be meditating. It may not be actually an action, but that action could be what I've been doing all week for this Grace on Fire, weeding and staining and cleaning. It could be scrubbing toilets. There's nothing that it cannot be, or that it has to be. There's no attachment or expectation in that. We just live as servants of our heart, of our deepest truth in our heart, moment to moment, unattached to exactly how that will look. And in each moment we surrender to the next moment. What is our highest possible destiny, our highest service in the next moment? Always staying deeply, profoundly connected in the deepest aspect of our being that we possibly can in that moment. And if we're not very connected, just loving ourselves and forgiving ourselves and giving ourselves a gold star, no matter where we are in our path. Even if we get scattered and we get disconnected, give yourself a gold star right on the middle of your forehead, a gold star. That's my motto. Give yourself a gold star every minute, every day, all day, always, no matter if you're depressed, no matter if you're angry, no matter if you're frustrated, no matter if you're in despair, no matter if you're elated, you're happy, no matter if you're sitting on the couch eating potato chips, or whether you're out feeding the hungry. Give yourself a gold star no matter where you're at. That's where you're at. That's your highest service to humanity. And in the next moment, go into your heart and find out what the next thing is. When I was a little girl, my mom used to give me a Bonita banana sticker on my forehead when we go into the grocery store. And I was so excited to get that sticker. It made me so happy. Oh, I got a sticker. And when I taught preschool, I would tell the kids, if you quiet down, I'll give everybody a gold star. and I put it on their hand or their forehead, wherever they want it. When I'd run out of gold star, I'd make a little picture with those non-toxic pens. Non-toxic, I promise. And they would be so happy. And so my suggestion is, as a preschool teacher in the past, as a child in the past, as an adult in the present, give yourself a gold star. Be the most compassionate person for you. My motto for years has been be wide open, unstoppable love for all beings. And I have shifted that to be wide open, unstoppable love for myself and all beings. And I invite everybody into that. That's been probably a 20-year commitment. Wide open, unstoppable love for all beings. And it's been 2 years ago, I realized I wasn't being that for me. So I changed it and I included myself. And I invite you to include that for you. Be wide open, unstoppable love for you. And that when you are wide open, unstoppable love for yourself, it's going to be natural that you will be wide open, unstoppable love for all beings. You won't even have to work at it. Just be wide open, unstoppable love for yourself and have that awareness to be wide open, unstoppable love for all beings. And it will be easy. But start with yourself first. Because you are that one. Thank you for tuning in for Grace on Fire. I love you. I honor you. Put that gold star on your forehead now and love yourself no matter where you're at with wide open, unstoppable love. May you have a beautiful and blessed day. Thank you. Thank you.